Hi everyone, some gamer dude here. Yu-Gi-Oh is rather interesting among the big three trading card games. Pokemon is an older game, yet its only real iconic card is base set Charizard. Magic is even older, it has more iconic cards than Pokemon, yet the context is very different. While Shivan Dragon and Sarah Angel are big card names, they're not really beloved in the same way, while the rest of their iconic cards are iconic for their power and value. They're not creature cards. Yu-Gi-Oh, on the other hand, especially the original series, is overflowing with iconic cards. Exodia, Blue Eyes White Dragon, Jinzo, the God cards, Gaia, the Toons Relinquished, the Elemental Heroes, Stardust Dragon, the list just keeps on going. But one of the most iconic cards is the Black Magician, the ace of the original protagonist YuGiOh, or to be more exact, his alter ego, the Pharaoh Artem. The Dark Magician has had many different artworks over the years, even launching in English with 2 different artworks. Today I'm going to give my opinions on each of the artworks and tell you which one I feel is the best one. We start with the most recent Dark Magician artwork, the legendary card from Rush Duels. It's a redrawing of the original starter deck Yugi artwork and lacks all the presence the original card had. While the artwork is more dynamic, it has that digital art feel in all the wrong ways. It looks rendered, not drawn, and loses a lot with that. The character feels much friendlier and softer, losing the edge the original art and most every other Dark Magician art has. One of old Yu-Gi-Oh's best assets was that edge. Softening it this much takes away a lot of the appeal. This isn't to say that this artwork is poor, it's really not. It's just that the original works so much better and exists. This artwork feels redundant in many ways to me. It's fine, but given the choice, I'd take starter deck Yugi over this any day. I'm a big fan of blue skin, blonde hair Dark Magician with his red trim. I think it's really striking. But I'm not a huge fan of this artwork from Yugi's collector box and structure deck YuGiOh. It's the posing, it's boring. He's just standing there, glaring at the viewer, possibly casting the spell ring that usually accompanies the Dark Magician. It's hard to talk about an artwork that is literally nothing. If I had to give it something, the red is more vibrant than other cards that depict this colour scheme. What a boring piece of artwork. That's just how bland and emotionless this art is. I can barely muster up anything to say about it. Tablet Dark Magician is part of a set with Tablet Blue Eyes White Dragon, which I believe to be the most reprinted versions of these 2 cards. I think that hurts it a bit. It's tired and boring now. I like the colours, the pose, the iconography. Not huge on the face, it's a bit too friendly, but I do genuinely like the art. I think if you gave it a face more in line with the other art, it'd be in the other half of this list. The face is really damaging. It doesn't invoke any feelings, it just is. The face feels like it's going through the motions, or from an artist who isn't particularly great at drawing faces. While I like the posing and colours, I think both previously released artworks were superior to this one. They invoke emotions and make an impression. I don't think this one really does. I love the redesign of Dark Magician from the Dark Side of Dimensions. Or to be more accurate, this costume change first happened with the Jump promo from Yu-Gi-Oh author Kazuki Takahashi, but this was both the costume's first time in animation and with the wide printing. I really like how muscular and heroic his physiology is. I think the black with the pearly light blue white trim is really striking. It grabs your eye and it's immediately attractive. The whole redesign comes together to have a very different feel, but still feels like Dark Magician. And I don't like the pose. I don't like how it focuses on his staff, with his face so far away. I think moving the focus away from the face is what ruins it for me. Unlike the tablet art or the starter deck YuGi, the image doesn't focus on both the character and the weapon. It just feels like it's the weapon, as if the card is an equipped card with the character on it for some reason. I'd love to see this design used again for a better piece. I still think it's got a lot going for it. I love the colour scheme, and I'm probably placing it higher than I should for that reason alone. But if Konami printed another Dark Magician in this colour scheme, I'd plummet this down the list in no time flat. I didn't really pay much attention to Duelist Powers Dark Magician when I was first assembling the parts for this video. It was new to me, but after letting it sink in, it does a lot I like. Strong and determined face, masculine physique, focuses on the character as a whole, powerful pose. It really brings a lot of things from other artworks together. I think the entire picture is a bit too desaturated, but I like the additional red detail on the lower part of the robe. I think it really does help break up all of the purple on the front, though that's more of a black here. I think the pose is a little generic, but it does this generic strong Dark Magician art a lot better than the earlier structure deck YuGi art. In all reality, this is just the Dark Side of Dimensions design with traditional colours. It's where the additional detail comes from, but I think it works. I think the posing is better than that card, though I wonder if I'd appreciate this card even more if it had the current Takahashi colours or the contrast was turned up. Nevertheless, I think it has a lot more going for it than other Dark Magician arts. It's pretty darn solid. Arcana's Dark Magician really isn't the same character as the other Dark Magician cards on this list. But it is the same card, except it isn't. It inhabits a weird area I've never seen again of a card in a game of this type. Arcana's Dark Magician has the same name, stat line, and flavor text as the normal Dark Magician. For all intents and purposes, it's the same card. But the code is different, and it depicts a different character. Arcana's Dark Magician comes from the rather iconic duel in Battle City between Yugi and Arcana, both using Dark Magician as their ace. Arcana's Dark Magician is clad in red armor instead of the normal purple. I really like the colour scheme of the red with the gold trim. That, along with the eyes, really do sell the picture that this is a villainous version of the Dark Magician. I also like that subtle touch of the skin tone, looking more olive than the light skin Dark Magician normally has. Considering that the character is Egyptian, kind of, I think this skin tone, the one shared with the Egyptian characters, helps sell the origins of the character and in turn the game. While I like my edge, and this is most certainly edgy, I'm not sure it holds up as well as an edge given to the original Dark Magician character. I think over the years the appeal of this art has worn off, but it's still really good and has a lot going for it. If this had been 10 years ago, it probably would have been much higher. Starter deck YuGi Dark Magician, one of the earliest YuGiOh cards, is also by far one of the most iconic cards ever printed regardless of game. It's by far the most iconic version of Dark Magician too, and deserves a top 3 slot. Though I think this card might be held up by its part in Yu-Gi-Oh! And card game history. I like the look of it. The face isn't as soft as the tablet art, the pose is dynamic, but its entire colour scheme merges with itself. It's entirely shades of purple and green. The background is blue. The skin tone and spellbinding circle are the only things to break up all the colours connected to blue. But it works. The circle is shiny enough to break it up. I like the effect on the blue background. The lightest purple does do its job. It too is light enough to create contrast. The face is great. I think what really helps this art so much is that it's just so quintessentially early Yu-Gi-Oh! It's iconic to that era. It was the face of the game. The art is directly lifted from the manga, and because of that, it just has this certain feel about it, like started at Kaiba Blue Eyes White Dragon. It feels like the core identity of Yu-Gi-Oh! Way back when. Started at Yu-Gi Dark Magician undoubtedly has a special place in a lot of people's hearts worldwide. It means a lot to countless people, but I feel it also works as a piece of art. It's instantly appealing, and for media that needs designs to be appealing, that matters a lot. Legend of the Blue Eyes White Dragon Dark Magician was the second Dark Magician artwork printed and is my number 2. Sometimes things line up like that. I don't think this artwork is terribly popular. I never hear anyone talk about it, but I've always really liked it, and looking back on it now, I think it really holds up. I could understand liking some of the later art a lot more, but I still think this has a presence about it that feels like that original Yu-Gi-Oh! Era. Dark, aggressive, foreboding, violent, and this art for Dark Magician is very much of that era. The posing is threatening and powerful, assertive, the red is striking and contrasts with both the purple and the hard shading. Red itself is an aggressive colour, adding to the tone. I think why this works for me over the Arcana Dark Magician, which is honestly very similar art, is that the character isn't so obviously villainous. He's powerful and threatening, but he doesn't give off a villainous aura. He's more of a neutral character that isn't to be trifled with. It's all in the face. Art communicates so much about the character, and I find the character presented here very appealing. That is an example of good art. It tells you about that character. Something more than just, here's the main character, or here's a pretty girl. It gives you an idea of the personality of the subject. But more than that, in the dark, death-ridden original Yu-Gi-Oh!, this Dark Magician fits right in. And my favourite Dark Magician art is Magician's Force Dark Magician Girl. Obviously, being an attractive female over a male just makes it the best Dark Magician card ever printed. Never discount how important a pretty face is to making a card far better than it otherwise would be. It's Jump Promo Dark Magician by Kazuki Takahashi. Jokes aside, it's by and far my favourite. In recent years, Yu-Gi-Oh! Author Kazuki Takahashi has changed his style significantly. Originally it was more rounded and wavy, like a softer variant of Hirohiko Araki's JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, evolving into that rigid and sharp look Yu-Gi-Oh! Is known for. Now it's highly detailed in a way it's never been before. In late 2008, Konami released a series of iconic cards from the Yu-Gi-Oh! Manga drawn by Kazuki Takahashi in his new art style. The bulk of these cards were released in the anniversary pack, but Dark Magician was a jump promo. I loved this art from the moment I saw it. Okay, the proportions are a little weird. He looks like he skipped arm day, but I love it. I love the colours, the black and the white. It makes this massive impact and smacks you in the face. I love the design. It's far more innate than he's ever been before. And even the movie Dark Magician is simplified compared to this. I love the focus on the face, the character. I think the impression you get of the character from his face is a bit different to usual. There is an air of aggressiveness about him. It really is the whole package. Redesigns are hard. You don't want it to be too different or to take it in a weird direction because people may reject it. I think it helps that the original designer did this work, but it's a pretty clear improvement to me. Dark Magician never looked great in the manga. I think it's even arguable that the anime and Konami finished the design in some respect. But with Takahashi's redesign, I think it takes on a whole new life. It takes everything positive of the original design, the Konami redesigns, and a fresh new take. It all comes together as something that I believe just overshadows every other depiction of the character till now and since. The only real complaint I have is that the arms look a little disproportional. Or maybe that's that the chest is too big. Either way, I really want one of these cards. So how do you rank the Dark Magician arts? Which is your favourite? I'm curious to read your comments. I don't usually do an end slate, but I felt I needed to today. Today was an experiment. I switched video programs to DaVinci Resolve, and I wanted to make a video from my list that would be easy to produce to get myself familiar with the program. I hope it turned out well, and past SGD hopes it was easy to get to grips with. Till next time, this has been Some Gamer Dude, and thanks for watching.